right, coming up on 3:39. It's Tuesday afternoon. Thank you for your time and attention. This is The Drive. My name is Ted Henley. Focusing in right now on the Calgary construction industry. How's the industry doing as we come out of the COVID pandemic? Well, Bill Black is joining me right now to dig into all of this. Bill Black is the President and Chief Operating Officer of the Calgary Construction Association. Bill, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you very much, Ted. It's a pleasure.
I guess looking big picture-wise, Bill, right now off the top, how do you think overall the industry's doing in our city?
Well, I think the industry came through a very long period of really constrained economic conditions that was longer than we'd experienced perhaps in the last 4 or 5 decades. It came through COVID, and now it's really starting to see its resilience pay off in that work is picking up on all fronts. There's activity, there's more coming. All very good, healthy indicators for an industry that was almost at the end of its tether.
Yeah, and I recall, right when the COVID pandemic struck, yourself and your colleagues within the industry, you had to put all of these super quick protocols in place just to keep the people working on site, right?
Absolutely. We really had to take the ownership.
Yeah.
And the industry rallied in a way that in my 40 years in the industry, I have never seen people set aside their competitive natures, which are strong, and rally around the common challenge and share information so we could do just that.
Yeah, to keep the crews working, right? To keep the crews
exactly.
working. How many Calgarians are employed in the industry right now compared to, say, I don't know, last year and maybe before the pandemic?
Well, what we saw in the StatsCan numbers that came out here just late last week was that currently, based on their methodology, we're looking at 82,800 Calgarians are employed in the construction industry in the month of July, August.
Wow, that's significant considering our population, depending on which numbers you look at, we're like 1.2, 1.3 million. That's a lot of people.
Yeah, and it's a number that we derive quite a bit of information from. We're kind of back to where we were pre-pandemic.
Yeah.
But the reality is, if you go back to 2015, before things really started to bite, we rarely get much above 90.
Okay.
And we can go down as far as the 60s.
Really?
So we're starting to trend up there. And of course, yes, it is. That's a lot of Calgarians engaged in this industry. And I think sometimes our industry just gets relegated a little bit in people's minds, but we're a big part of the GDP and a big part of the economy.
Absolutely, absolutely, for sure. And just so I'm just looking at some of the notes here that the construction industry, the fourth largest industry in the city.
Exactly.
When you compare employment numbers, like behind retail, professional services, and healthcare, I mean that's nothing to turn your nose at. That's significant.
It is, and when you further extract these numbers, and when you actually realize that within the construction industry, there are some very, very large organizations, but the reality is, particularly within the commercial and residential side, 80% or so of the industry is comprised of small businesses with maybe 10 employees or less in the office. They may have 100 plus people in the field, but that is an owner-operator business model that really drives the majority of the activity of the industry. So it's the community of Calgary represented in the industry too.
Yeah, that's a very good point, Bill. I'm chatting with Bill Black right now on The Drive. Bill's the President and Chief Operating Officer of the Calgary Construction Association, finding out how things are going for the men and women employed in the construction industry in our city. So I mean, where do you think we're going, Bill? I mean, are you projecting things will continue to grow, or do you think we've plateaued, Bill? What do you think?
I believe we're going to see growth. I think we would probably, as an industry, tend to hope that it's steady growth rather than sudden growth.
Yeah.
We've tended to see that in the past, and it's all great, but the big jumps tend to get followed by the big drops. So I would hope there's an opportunity for sustained growth. I think buildings are becoming more sophisticated, which needs more technical expertise. The demands on, as communities grow, etc., for more intelligent development, people are concerned about the environmental impact of buildings. All an opportunity for the expertise in our industry, perhaps to step out from behind commoditization, which has tended to plague us, and step out and show exactly how much technical expertise we can bring to the table and really build the Calgary of the future.
Yeah, and speaking to that, building, the Calgary of the future, are there any hurdles that are kind of holding things back, or things that you would like to kind of, be moved to the side, so to speak, metaphorically, to kind of let your industry continue to flourish?
I think, there's a number of other dynamics in place. Of course, it's no secret that there have been supply chain challenges, both in terms of cost escalation and instability, as well as lead times impacting schedules. So that's still playing out and is likely to play out for some time. And of course, the 82,800 Calgarians employed in the construction industry is a great number, but it also explains why there is also a lot of the construction industry, like so many others, is struggling to find the labor and attract people into the industry and secure the resources to do the building. Yeah, the skilled labor and supply chain. Hearing that from so many different industries, Bill, right? So many different industries. Yeah. You know what, Bill? I appreciate the conversation this afternoon. Thanks for the update, and we'll have to check back in a few months down the road here. Really appreciate your interest, and thank you so much for taking the time to engage us. You're welcome. Have a great evening, Bill. Have a great evening. You too. All right. Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you. Bye-bye. That's Bill Black, the president and COO of the Calgary Construction Association. Just to give you a little bit more perspective, as I mentioned, the construction industry is the fourth largest industry in the city. That's when you compare employment numbers behind retail, professional services, and healthcare. 9.2% of all jobs in the Calgary Central Market area are directly in the construction industry. That speaks to that 82,800 Calgarians, when our total population, depending on what number you're looking at, anywhere between 1.2 and 1.4-ish in there. But that includes babies and people that have retired, right? So if you think of working age Calgarians, 800,000 Calgarians in one industry, the construction industry, that's a big, big, big sample size. And it should be seen as a barometer for the local economy, because it's that significant, that much impact on the gross domestic product, of course, within the city of Calgary. And more Calgarians are employed in construction than they are in resource extraction industries like forestry, fishing, mining, quarrying, oil, and gas. There you go.